Skye Michiels, welcome to North Carolina,
Thank
your
you.
first PropTech South. We are so happy you're here.
It's awesome. It was honestly, I was really impressed with what you guys pulled together.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. It takes a village,
Yeah.
but I am so impressed with all of the speakers. And I want to dive into a little bit more about what you spoke about today. In your session, your title was Rehumanizing Real Estate. So, at its core, what is the biggest threat AI poses to a traditional agent's job? And what exactly does it mean to rehumanize the transaction?
Two really, really big questions. So let's tackle the first one. The
Yes.
biggest threat, in my opinion, is actually distraction. Our biggest threat with AI is being overwhelmed and being so distracted with like trying to figure out 10 different platforms that are going to do one little thing that we forget again to get back to the core of what real estate is. So with AI, I think people are avoiding it because it's either scary or overwhelming. And my general recommendation is that just figure out one platform to start. And until you've mastered that platform, don't add anything more in. So let's just pretend you pick ChatGPT. All right. Once you get that to like a good space, then maybe, all right, let me do Zapier or let me do this other thing. But I think distraction is the greatest threat to realtors because we get so distracted on the hamster wheel over here that we forget about taking care of our business over here.
Or we just don't know how to use it or
Yeah.
what we should ask it.
Yeah.
And it can be intimidating.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's similar to any new technology that, gets out there. The people that can learn it fastest and quickest are going to use it to its nth degree. And that's what we need to do.
Yeah. If AI can handle data and scheduling and repetitive tasks with a perfect efficiency, what are your three non negotiable human skills or even emotional services that every agent must master to justify their value in the future?
The first thing for me is always empathy. We are constantly worried about ourselves, which is good. But if you can learn how to practice empathy, that will carry you so far in your real estate career. The second one is one, I just heard this the other day, tolerance for ambiguity.
Oh, I love that.
And it was so powerful when I heard this. I was listening to a really good podcast and the speaker said it, and I was like, whoa. Because you think about the people that are successful right now, they have a really great tolerance for ambiguity. The guarantee as realtors that we have is we have no idea what's coming down the pike, and we can just COVID, again, you can just go down the list of the last 5 years. So that term, practicing a tolerance for ambiguity, if you can really, practice that at a high level, you will be very successful in real estate because you will just basically go back to what you do control, which is your actions. And then the final skill I would say is it's one word, which is the definition of success, and it's consistency. Almost every agent fails because of the fact they lack consistency. And there's many, many reasons why that, but most of the time we're making whatever it is we're trying to do way too big. So for example, during my presentation, one text message a day to one person.
Or the time blocking. I love
Time
how you
blocking.
gave that example. We're all bad at that,
Throw
right?
out time blocking. And we need
Especially
to
the end of the
stop.
year. I'm going to just block off a
Yeah.
month to do all of this.
It's not going to happen. And we need to throw out this idea that as realtors, we're going to time block because the reality of our career is that most of the time during the day, there's so much unknown that is going to come at us. So I usually coach to a concept I call time chunking, meaning rather than saying from 9 to 9:30, I'm going to work on my CRM, say, I'm going to work on my CRM for 15 minutes today, and you create a chunk of time that is your goal. But it can't be big chunks of time, it has to be small. So I think the consistency piece is what are never taught as agents how to be consistent. And then I think as, the industry, your agents are being bombarded with messaging around all this stuff, which is social media, AI, trainings, all these things. And it's really pulling us away from being consistent because we're trying to do everything and doing none of it well. Instead, pick one or two things, but you do them consistently. And that's the key to success.
And it's so incredible that today you had someone that actually used one of your tactics and got
Yeah.
a lead, which is incredible in that moment. And so you obviously know what you're talking about,
That
but it's also just, it's the simple things, that
yeah,
human connection that you just constantly keep talking
that's
about,
right.
and that you can be consistent. And it's
Yeah,
not going to be so overwhelming where you just feel like I can't do all of this or I'm
that's it.
behind, and you just
Yeah.
kind of starts to spiral.
Exactly. And I think it's that consistency of like connection, right?
Hmm.
Is to think of that concept. I'm going to consistently connect with conversations with people I know
Right.
and boil it down to that simplicity. And if every agent in here just did that, scroll back for 2 minutes a day, their business, they would find deals just like we had happen randomly in the audience. But I've never taught anything that is as simple and as effective as that little scroll back tactic.
And it's such a good and important one to remember.
Yep.
For brokers and team leaders in the audience, how should they adjust their training, mentorship today to ensure that their agents are focused on delivering that human connection instead of competing with AI on speed or data?
Yeah. I think as far as like training realtors, I think we got to go more into a mode of very short sprints versus like long drawn out training programs. Most of the time when we do stuff that's very long and drawn out, people will fade and, stop doing it just because of the attention span and
Oh,
busyness and all
yeah.
that stuff. So instead, I really advocate, especially for brokers who are trying to create action inside of their agents,
Hmm.
try to develop short sprints like a 2-week challenge or a 30-day challenge. Do stuff that is shorter in sprints and very focused on specific actions
And achievable
and
too.
achievable. Exactly. You need to build into success. So as you do that, that'll allow you to elevate your training because of the fact you're not trying to train an agent on everything they need to know about social media. You're just training them
Right.
on a very specific topic for 2 weeks,
Can you
for
give an
example.
example of one that you've
Yeah,
done?
yeah. My favorite one, I call it the CMA Day Challenge. 30 days, you send 30 unsolicited sort of market snapshots
Hmm.
to 30 of your past clients. And there's a template. So basically it takes 10 minutes maybe to do that. And if you can do that for 30 days, and when I do this as for part of my coaching program, I guarantee that someone will get a listing or I'll refund the money. Because if you send out 30 connections to 30 past clients, in my opinion, it's almost impossible that one of them won't use you or refer you in that 30-day time frame.
I love that. You've talked a lot about like the hamster wheel dilemma. Many agents feel pressure to use everyday new technology that's available just to keep up. How can agents strategically select the right one to enhance their client relationships without, tech becoming that distraction that
Yeah.
pulls away from that human connection? And you've kind of talked a little bit about this, the scroll. I love that. But would you want to add to any of that?
It's the age old classic real estate CRM. I mean, I wish we actually could create a CRM that only did four things, right? These CRMs
They're
today,
becoming intense.
they're so intense and they're so complicated. And it's almost like your iPhone. Like most of us, our iPhone, we use 5 or 6 apps on our iPhone, but it can do 1,000 things. But we don't need to know all those or have them
Hmm.
really present. So what Apple does really well, they just put right in front of your face the things you use all the time. And I wish the CRMs were geared like that as well. But if you are an agent out there and you are saying, well, what technology should I use? If you are not using a CRM at a very high level, you have to start there. Once you're using a CRM, at that point, then you need to create a hyper focus of what you want your business to look like. So I typically coach people into identifying, 1 to 3 buckets of business. And then underneath each bucket, what are you going to focus on? So obviously sphere of influence, repeat referrals, one. Maybe it's open houses. So
Mm.
what technology will help me with this very specific bucket of business? Maybe it's internet leads. What specific technology will help me here? So rather than try to figure out what technology is out there and let me fit it into my business, figure out your business first and then figure out what piece of technology exists to help me in that specific bucket.
I really like that. It makes you kind of go a little more narrow in and hone in on what you really need to focus on because it can be so overwhelming at Doorify, everyone knows we are constantly innovating,
Yeah.
throwing new technology, but we always say, do what's best for your business,
Yeah.
what's going to streamline your business and make you the most successful. Moving beyond the transaction, how can agents use technology in a humanized way to build that lifetime relationship with a client? So, like in other words, how does AI enable agents to better long term advisors rather than one off closers, if
Yeah.
that makes sense?
One of the benefits of using a CRM is technology can think for you at times, but it can't feel for you. So an example of this would be making sure, depending upon what your CRM is, a smart plan, action plan, something that will remind you of very important timeframes in your specific client's life, their home anniversary, their birthday, a random, text message that you're going to send them. So if you are a realtor, you want to build out something that will think for you. So in essence, technology can actually give you a to-do list on what you need to do that day to build a relationship with people. Because if you have 200, 300, 400 past clients, it is impossible to remember everything. And most agents try to keep it up in their mind, or it's random, right? Oh my God, it's someone's birthday. I saw it on Facebook. No, you should get an email every morning, or in your CRM, there should be a to-do list that you go in and it's so-and-so's birthday, send them a text. And you can automate the reminder. You can't automate the action, meaning with people you know. With people you don't know, you can automate everything, and that's fine. But if you are using a quote unquote drip campaign to your past clients, you most likely are missing the mark. So technology should allow us to make people feel like they matter to us at a higher level by thinking for us, right? And keeping us organized. As agents, we're horrible at staying organized. So if technology helps you stay organized, that's where it can make us really powerful in this human connection. The other thing we think about is social media. And again, I did a little bit in my presentation today. We have this tool. People today are buying and selling real estate because of life changes. And as realtors, we wish we could every day could show up and help people around their specific life. And so when we are not using, let's just say, social media, which is technology, to actually reverse it, and rather than us putting content out there to be consumed, we are actually going and looking at our clients' social media in order to understand what's happening in their lives. And when we see something that generates an emotional reaction, we can actually react to that and make someone feel like they matter. So I think the concept we want to adopt is, how can technology make me more human by increasing the ways that I can practice kindness and generosity and gratitude to the people I know?
I love that. On more of
Thank you.
a on more of a personal level, what is one piece of technology or AI that you use daily, and
Yeah.
how do you ensure that it doesn't diminish your own ability to connect authentically with the people that you work with day in and day out?
This is a basic one, but Calendly is
Oh, I love
is
Calendly.
for me, and probably for most realtors out there, like that, going back and forth via text or email. Hey, can you do Friday at 9? No. How about Monday at 2? No, I can't. All of a sudden you spend hours going back and forth,
And sometimes you miss it.
and you
I've
miss
missed
it.
them.
Then it'll drop, right?
Mhm.
And it just happens. So Calendly for me is something that I think will really help people create some structure in their schedule. So for me, someone's like, I met people today. Oh, can we grab some time? I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. I text them my Calendly link. They go on, they see what times I'm available. And by the way, this is all blocked in the calendar, and they can choose the time that works for them. And we eliminate the back and forth, and it's a very basic technology, but in many ways, like you really need to do it. In addition, it'll also you can have required questions. So I always get their cell phone number, their email, why the purpose of the call, So that way, when I'm having a crazy day and I like look at my calendar, I'm like, wait, who is this person? I'll have the reason for the call. And if I'm running late or I need to call them instead of whatever it might be, I'm not like Googling their cell phone number or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? So it's a really
So
powerful tool.
simple. I
So
need to go
powerful.
install that actually
Yeah.
later today
And
because it saves so much time.
it does. And then what I also do is I have a text replacement in my iPhone. So I just like for my 30-minute schedule, I just type SSS and the link pops up and I text it. So it allows for even quicker speed where I'm not like finding it, copying, pasting. So if you don't know what text replacement is, like work at finding out what that is and implement that into your cell phone.
So smart to do.
Simple.
I'm going to go do that actually later tonight. Okay, so final takeaway. If there is one single action every agent and broker in this room should take tomorrow to embrace rehumanizing real estate, the philosophy, what would it be?
Simple, basic text message. Make someone feel your kindness by saying, I was going through my records today. I saw your name. It made me smile. Hope you're doing well. The basic concept of doing that every single day it's so simple. And again, the first thing you do, you make someone feel good by saying, "Oh my God, I saw you and it made me smile." Like I acknowledge who you are. And then the next thing you do is you are just basically giving them the door to create conversation, but also giving them the space to not if they chose not to. And again, once a day, every day for 2026, people will be shocked at what starts to come through on their text message.
Skye Michiels, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being here. It was a true honor to hear you speak today, do
Thank you.
this podcast recording. Where can people find you? All the socials,
Yeah.
where can they hit you up?
My website is withheartcoaching.com. So that's nice and easy. My Instagram is at Skye, Skye, Michiels, Michiels, a little different there. And then my email is skye@withheartcoaching.com.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.